testing audio, testing video. What's going on, everybody? How is everyone? It's about 5 p.m., which tells me that it is time for some Slay Security Plus. I see Christopher Whitlock in chat. I see DJ B-Sec, Matthew Pelkey, DJ B-Sec again. John Vitucci, Space Tacos. Got some of the Simply Cyber family. Super cool. Heard. What's up, John Vitucci, aka Blitz. Whoop whoop. I hope everyone's doing very well on this Thursday. It's been a pretty good day for myself. Moderated some Simply Cyber this morning, and I had my first phone interview for a pen test role that I'm applying for. It was an interview experience that was pleasantly surprising. I'm not going to dox anybody, obviously, because I'm in that phase. But the person who did the interviewing asked questions that I haven't gotten in a job regarding cybersecurity before, and it was really refreshing to see HR done differently. So that's cool, and that's not a plug. If you're watching, that's cool, and if not, then, well, you did a great job, and it was fun, at least on this first call. So that's been a really good experience. Chris Whitlock says music's going to make him go to sleep. Gotta keep it mellow in case these questions are coming too hot for you. We don't want you to overheat. Hey, Regina Franklin, good to see you. It is good to see you. 5 p.m. This guy in the past, man. It's 6 p.m. Ha, yeah, where you're at. How was your week so far, chat? We're gonna talk for a little minute. We have about 60 Domain 2 practice questions to crush tonight to get going, but I'm gonna let everybody kind of hang out for a second. I want to remind everybody that Slay Security Plus is brought to you by Simply Cyber. So whether you're trying to level up, jump into the career, level up in your current career in cybersecurity, jump into a career in cybersecurity, plug into simplycyber.io. I've got links in the description, and we'll find out a little bit more about that during our mid-roll buffer. Stinger. Music is a tad loud, moderators are telling me. Let's bring it down. Boom. Tell me if that's better, mods. Thank you. See Justin Gold's entering the chat room. Joseph Caden, Casually Joseph. Got the whole team going on. All right, let's get to cooking. Before we do that, let's pay the bills with our mid-roll and our Slay Security Plus sponsor. And let's hope this goes a little bit better than it did last time. Let's roll.
Are you feeling lost in the vast world of cybersecurity, overwhelmed by technical jargon and confusing career paths? You're not alone. That's why I built Simply Cyber. Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Ozier. Come join Simply Cyber, your supportive and inclusive community for navigating the exciting world of cyber. There's so much to take advantage of. Master the skills you need with Simply Cyber Academy, offering in-depth courses aligned with the GRC analyst role. Never feel isolated. Connect with fellow cyber enthusiasts and professionals in our thriving Discord server. Ask questions, get feedback, share your journey. Check out the Simply Cyber YouTube channel, delivering insightful interviews. What are your thoughts around, web app pen testing as entry level? And I included bug bounty here because that's very accessible to everybody. Practical skill demos and daily cyber threat briefs, all hosted by industry experts. There's so much more to discover. Are you ready to join the community and empower your future? Visit simplycyber.io/socials for all the links and start your cyber adventure today.
Woo, let's rock and roll. Simply Cyber, Dr. Jerry Ozier, thank you for the sponsorship. Thank you for this awesome workstation and supporting everything that we're doing here at Slay Security Plus. Just with this amazing clip, it has the echo correct. Yeah, I was able to take out that echo, I think, by changing some of my sources. Before we get too far, I wanted to say that our lesson is proudly sponsored by Josh Mason of Mason SC. Whether you're here for a CISSP course, IT consulting services, you want to level up your career as well, maybe in a different way, whether it's course creation, learning how to be a better leader in the industry, reach out to Josh Mason. You can find him at mason/sc.com. I'm going to link that in. Oh, I can't link it in chat. I will link that in chat next time. Like I said, let's rock and roll this. Something I want to talk about before we get started is I'm really, really excited. We're going to be rocking Professor Messer's question series probably for the foreseeable future, and the reason being it's the absolute best. I want to make something very clear before we get started. I am not sponsored by Professor Messer. he did not pay me to say these things. I paid for these practice tests with my own money, much like I paid for the CompTIA Security Plus book from Packet Publishing by Ian Neal with my own cash. They're the best practice questions in the business when it comes to being the closest to the real deal as far as syntax, CompTIA speak, and then difficulty as well. They're $30 for the notes, $30 for the practice tests, and they are absolutely the best. They are the best. So we're going to rock with that this evening, the Professor Messer exams. Let's get started. We're going to start off with a question here just coming out of the middle of the Professor Messer questions. We're covering all of the domains. Let's really quick, before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, the Security Plus Domain 2, so we're looking at threats, vulnerabilities, and mitigations. We are going to have practice questions from every single one of the domain objectives, so 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5. We will have a question that has something to do that's pulling information from this part of the Security Plus exam. And we'll also go through some strategies, because Professor Messer does a great job in his questions of writing them in such a way that it's very CompTIA-like, and we can digest and start to dissect the format of their questions, because you can get a lot of information and a lot of the answers that are already in the questions built in. So let's see if we can start with number 1, reopen poll. That's what I want to do, correct? Make sure it does the thing I want it to do. It is present this to full screen. Everything we do with the live testing is completely anonymous. This helps squash imposter syndrome so that you can feel free to plug in an answer to test yourself to see where you're at. And the way to do that is to join us at vvox.app. That's vvox.app. And you can use the ID 163-526-042 or scan this QR code. And I have it set so that it will anonymously give me the results of whatever you put in. So nobody gets doxxed, no names. Kenny Lowy dropping in chat. How you doing? DJ BSEC, Slay Security Plus. This is looking good. Thank you, sir. I took your tips, took some of your tips from regarding live streaming, that is, and applied them to some of what I got going on here. All right, this is our first question. We're going to let this one ride, and I'm going to set a 1-minute timer. I'm going to do my best to set the 1-minute timers. Remember, the Security Plus exam has roughly 90 questions. I'm going to yap a minute while you're plugging in the answer for this one. The Security Plus has roughly 90 multiple choice questions and PBQ or performance-based questions, which we will also cover those. Not today, but we do cover those. You're usually going to get between 75 and 80 multiple choice questions and between 2 and I've heard in upwards of 6 performance-based questions. But if they give you 6 performance-based questions, they know, and you'll only get like 60 multiple choice. So they weigh it in your favor, right? You get about a minute per question when the day is said and done. And so here, after we get through this question, I'm going to do my best to set a minute timer. And then I want you to just to kind of get used to what a minute feels like. And in doing that, I believe I have this capacity towards the end. When we can do that, shut it down. Survey says, organized crime. You're already learning which one of these threat actors would most likely to attack systems for direct financial gain. Our options are A, organized crime, B, hacktivist, C, nation state, or D, shadow IT. From our studies and what we understand about threat actors and how they operate, organized crime is going to be typically the threat actor group that we see that's going to attack specifically for financial gain. And one thing as we navigate Security Plus, I want us to drill into our heads. CompTIA does not care if you know of a better answer from a different exam. They don't care if you've been in the industry and maybe you know the answer and it's different to you. What CompTIA cares about is, do you know the answer for the question that they are asking given the provided answers? Because the answer is right here. It's one of these 4. They're not asking you to come up with something completely different. They're asking you to come up with the answer, extract the information from the studying you did, and tell them of the 4, which one best fits the scenario or question they're giving. I've seen a lot of people fail because they went in maybe with previous experience, or they took CC, all the beginner certs that I'm going to just say it right now, nobody cares about. They spent so much time in clouding their head with all this stuff that when they got to Security Plus, there was some noise, right? We want to focus through that noise, and we want to focus on what CompTIA is looking for. Let's roll. All right, start the question. See if I can do this right. Correct answer is organized crime. Why is it not hacktivists? Well, hacktivists typically aren't trying to get financial gain, and in fact, quite the opposite. Hacktivists typically are damn the man. Sorry, Kennedy. Boop. They're against that money, corporate greed. And so hacktivists are going to be defacing websites, possibly DDoS attacks, trying to bring something down, bring down the man. Nation state actors. A nation state threat actor is not concerned with financial gain. A nation state threat actor is typically backed by the country that it's working for, which has, unlimited resources, so to speak. And so they're not going to be looking for financial gain. Shadow IT, we know what shadow IT is. And if you don't, shadow IT is our coworkers. It can be us if we're not careful. Shadow IT is anybody that's turning on devices, jumping onto the network, bringing in their own devices, bringing in things that are out of policy and setting them up without going through the proper protocols with their internal IT or MSP or cybersecurity department or SOC or whatever that looks like for your organization. If you're bringing in your own computer and you're setting it up and you're doing things on the network, that's shadow IT. It's an internal threat, and it can be just as dangerous as a nation state or an APT. So yeah, let's talk more about how I feel about shadow IT. BSEC, tell us in chat how you feel about shadow IT. Christopher Whitlock, Margarita Giron is here. What's going on? Welcome to the party, pal. I'm in, says 573918. I was thinking 8675309. Let's go on to the next question. And timer go. Nope, 1 minute. Stop and move on. There we go. A user in the accounting department has received a text message from the CEO. This message requests payment by cryptocurrency for a recently purchased tablet. Which of the following would best, all caps, bolded, we're going to talk about that later, which of the following would best describe this attack? A, brand impersonation, C, watering hole attack, D, smishing, or D, typo squatting? And I'm going to restart the timer. Here we go. We got a minute. One thing. Grab a drink. Tonight's beverage sponsor is Celsius, by the way. No, I'm not sponsored by them. One thing that I cannot drive home is reading the question all the way through. Because you're going to read the question all the way through, and there's going to be answers that are going to jump out at you when you go to take your exam that are clearly not the correct answer. You have about 30 seconds. Request payment, we see CEO. Is it typo squatting? Is it smishing, watering hole attack, brand impersonation? The CEO could be a red herring. And then we see the word best. Is there a good, better up? Is there a good, better, best option that you could choose from? Maybe. We'll talk about that. And boom. Smishing, and then we have 12% of the survey coming in with brand impersonation. Let's talk a little bit about these answers, these threats, actors, vulnerabilities, mitigations, and why the correct answers could be correct. A user in the accounting department has received a text message from the CEO, right? So we see text message and CEO. Our brain might be going to a few things, right? Maybe some spear phishing, we see whaling, we see CEO, so our brain starts to go there. The message requests payment by cryptocurrency for a recently purchased tablet. Which of the following would best describe this attack? A watering hole attack is usually typically, it always is, it's a redirection attack, right? We're sending people to a site they normally use, maybe a third-party vendor. We're counting on them to be dumb and trustful, let's be honest with you, and that they're going to go to whatever site they normally go to. Watering hole. If you can imagine a bunch of cattle come into a watering hole and they get sick because a threat actor poisoned the well. It's the same thing. You find a website or a resource that you know a group goes to frequently, and you poison the hole, poison the watering hole. It's a form of redirection attack. We don't see anything talks about words being misspelled or misplaced or typed in close to. So, but we do have brand impersonation and smishing. The reason I would not choose personally brand impersonation is because I don't see anything talking about trying to look like, copy, or insinuate that they are the brand, right? This is just a text message from the CEO. And whenever you see text message, your mind should automatically start going to smishing, right? SMS, short message service phishing. 87.5 of you said that, and I believe 87.5 of you are correct. Smishing. Moving on. Which of the following vulnerabilities would be the most significant security concern when projecting against a hacktivist or protecting against a hacktivist? A, data center access with only one authentication factor. B, spoofing of internal IP addresses when accessing an intranet server, keyword intranet. C, employee VPN access uses a weak encryption cipher. Or D, lack of patch updates on an internet-facing database server. And I will start the timer now. Start going through what it's asking. Hacktivist. What is a hacktivist known for? No, Slay Security Plus. This is a text message from the CEO. It's not brand impersonation. It's from the CEO. Phishing information, pretending to be somebody else. I get those. I get those quite a bit. Hey, thanks for signing up, blah, 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 to get started. I got one that was from some guy named Kyle, said we were long lost friends. Yeah, right, Kyle. Go away, Kyle. If your name is Kyle and you're watching, no offense. Hey, Justin Rohr, Tony Parrish on YouTube, Sugar Master, what's going on? Welcome. Looking at the chats over here. You got 5 seconds. I didn't do the timer, but you have 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds to comply. Here it goes. Christopher Whitlock says, I'm really curious for this one. I take it he's talking about the question we're asking. I feel like it's more than one option here considering the lack of info. Well, we have most security concern when protecting against a hacktivist. What is a hacktivist known for? We can scratch off a few. A hacktivist typically isn't going to already have data center access, right? They're not going to be... that's not where we're looking to play, right? That's not going to satisfy the question. It's not common for a hacktivist to have data center access. Spoofing of internal IP addresses when accessing an intranet server. Again, we see internal IP addresses, and I'm only deducing the question and trying to tie it in with Security Plus, okay? Spoofing of internal IP addresses when accessing an intranet server is telling me, again, it's internal. Most likely spoofing of internal IP addresses are going to require a little bit more knowledge than I would think a hacktivist has, but I could be wrong. Employee VPN access uses a weak encryption cipher. And lack of patch updates on an internet-facing database server. I like that one. I see internet-facing and hacktivists are typically going to be a little bit more opportunistic. Most significant security concern, hinting towards impact. Impact, and if it would have said, take out the word hacktivist and put in APT. Take out hacktivist and put in unskilled threat actor or script kiddie. Take out any of that, take out hacktivist and put anything in, and then answer the question again. And that might help you kind of go through those answers. Lack of patch updates on an internet-facing database server. One of the easiest ways for a third party to obtain information is through an existing internet connection. A hacktivist could potentially exploit an unpatched server to obtain unauthorized access to the operating system and data. The incorrect answers. Single-factor data center access. Hacktivists can't easily enter secure areas. One authentication method generally prevents unauthorized access, but more factors increase security. B, internal IP address spoofing on an intranet server. Again, we're talking intranet, so we're already on the inside. Intranet servers inaccessible from the outside are unlikely hacktivist targets unless they can find a network and pivot in using something like proxy chains or S-shuttle, right? And create that VPN service so you can talk to something inside the network. Hint, hint, hint for any of you hackers out there. VPN access with weak encryption. Weak encryption is a vulnerability, yet exposing it requires capturing network traffic, possible on public Wi-Fi, but not the primary security concern. Yes, correct, Christopher Whitlock, but the most common is number 4. And that is what I see people get hammed up with Security Plus the most is sometimes the choices they give you, there might be better choices. You have to choose the best from the options they give you. Don't let yourself get sidetracked by other things that you know or whatever. It's from the best, the options that they provide for you. I would love to take credit for this explanation, Christopher Whitlock, but that one, his hats off to Professor Messer. Moving on. A company maintains a server farm in a large data center. These servers are used internally and are not accessible from outside of the data center. The security team has discovered a group of servers was breached before the latest security patches were applied. Breach attempts were not logged on any other servers. Which of these threat actors would be most likely to be involved in this breach? Organized crime, B, insider, C, nation state, and D, unskilled attacker. Now I'm counting on you, Slayers, to get this one 100% correct. And if you don't, that's okay, because we're all here to learn. But I'm counting on you, Slayers, to use your cybersecurity knowledge, experience. The totality of the circumstances would lead a reasonable and prudent person to believe that the crime did occur. CRS statute 1-5- I don't remember what the statute is, but that is what we were taught. Going into police talk. There really is only one answer, and because it's pretty straightforward. Maintains a server farm in a large data center. These servers are used internally and are not accessible from outside of the data center. Organized crime. Could there be people that are organized crime, digital mafiosos, that are working for the company? Maybe. Could there be nation state actors? Maybe. Could it be an unskilled attacker that's trying to access a data center that is not internet accessing? Probably not, so you can scratch that one off. But I see words inside and internal, right? See, organized crime, and that's one. This brings up a great point. We're going to pause here. Hey, Steven Gibney, no answers in chat, dude. Oh, hi, Live Beat Labs. Welcome, Andy McPherson. Good to have you on the chat. Yep, so we answer everything via the Vvox app. If you want to scan the QR code with your device, or go to vvox.app and use the ID number 163-526-042. It'll take you anonymously where all of this fun stuff and the magic is happening. We're going to pause for a second and talk about Security Plus questions. The Professor Messer method, his questions, are the closest analog. Dax, one of my mentors and inspirations for all this on the Professor Messer channel. Dax, if you're watching, wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, my brother. Dax made a good point is that these are the closest analog, right? So the closest simulation to the actual exam. Security Plus after 501 apparently made a rule in their exams that they will not have more than 3 sentences. And so there used to be some really long questions, practice questions in other people's productions that were just too much. So usually you're only going to get 3 sentences. You can count on the first 2 sentences to tell you the story and the scenario, and the last one is typically going to be the question. There's a little hack for you. As you're reading, I want you to be scanning for keywords that you remember from your studies, because the idea is to get our brains to whittle the options down to a domain versus trying to pull from all of Security Plus. It's like grepping a file in Linux from your entire Linux file system versus grepping a file or a Word or something out of a directory or out of a file. The brain kind of works the same way. If we can get our options narrowed down to that directory, right? If you can think of a directory and get our brain at least to the file, at least to the directory. Okay, so let's say a directory is the objective and the file may be the point, and then the answer is the text. Your brain needs to work like that. So as you're reading the question, start scanning for keywords. Okay, I go, a company maintains a server in a large data center. Doesn't matter. These servers are used internally, keyword, and are not accessible from the outside, from outside of the data center. So now I'm already thinking internal something. The security team has discovered a group of servers was breached before the last security patches were applied. Now I'm thinking some patch management, maybe something out of domain 1. Breach attempts were not logged on any other server. Now I go, it's not happening anywhere else. Which of these threat actors would be most likely involved in this breach? Then I start, now my brain is already in the domain. I'm going, okay, I wondered. Then I kind of thought maybe we might be in a different domain. But by the time I got to the question, I'm going, nobody else was in there. It's an internal database, and my answer options are organized crime, insider, nation state, or unskilled attacker. The only one that should stand out to you when you start to get used to CompTIA speak is insider on this question. Grep slay. That article is in mine to read when I'm done here. Which article? If I'm a Google director, cool. If we could post that or somebody share that article with me, that would be great. The correct answer is insider threat. And for the same answers that I discussed, Professor Messer discusses, this is just kind of coming from being in cyber for a little bit now and understanding this is some of the terminology that we see, but really CompTIA is looking for you to, again, to have a bird's eye perspective of cyber. CompTIA is not expecting you to be an expert, I promise, so don't get yourself worked up. An application team is provided with a hardened version of Linux to use with a new application installation. And this includes installing a web service and the application code on the server. Which of the following would best protect the application from attacks? This is a decent CompTIA question. I'm not going to say it's the toughest question, but it's a... Okay, DJ BSEC is doing what people do and then have a hard time with Security Plus because he's a professional. He's been in the business. He's a professional, right? So slay Security Plus, DJ BSEC says. Servers that breach internally could have been hit from someone pivoting and they had no logs or the logs were deleted. But that is going deep. It is going deep. This is a great example of a little bit harder of a Security Plus question. And so if some of this terminology, hardened version of Linux with the new application installation, okay, and includes installing a web service and the application code on the server, if that string of concepts to you makes you go, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be here. You are supposed to be here, so stay. But then when you're done with this video, go back and study your fundamentals on IT security and how computers talk to each other and the different services, web servers, file transfer servers, SSH, different services. And always keep in mind when we're talking ports, we're talking really services. As a hacker, we don't attack ports, we attack the service that's on a port. Run a backup server for the application is option number 1. Number 2 or B, run the server in a cloud-based environment. C, implement a secure configuration of the web service. Or D, send the application logs to the SIM via syslog. Hey ZMF, studying with you on my phone. Pink hand waving, awesome. Half hour down, folks. We got another hour of questions. And whatever we don't finish today, I'm going to kindly ask our other instructor, Taylor Cyber Hamburglar McDonald, if he would finish, because it's really important we do a domain 2 review. And I also was thinking, and put me in chat if this is interesting to any of you. And if it's not, my feelings won't be hurt in the least bit. Is anybody interested in watching the beginning of a home lab get spun up in real time? I've got the ISOs and I have not got them spun up in VMware yet. But if it's interesting to you, if you've never spun up a home lab ever, I would be interested in doing maybe 20 minutes of doing it live at the end. If that's not something you want to see, totally cool. Works for me either way. And while you look over the question and apply some of those theories and techniques that we talked about, I'm going to check in on our LinkedIn chat and make sure that we're not leaving anybody behind. If you're watching Habib Baram, here it's 1 a.m. and I'm from Tunisia. Hey Habib, welcome from Tunisia. Welcome to Slay Security Plus here across in the States. It's awesome to have you. Thank you for staying up late in the early morning hours to be with us, because I say this time and time again, time is the most precious thing we have on this planet. Don't waste time studying. Don't waste time studying. Use your time building labs, spending time with friends and family, building a professional network, and getting hired. Cool. Good to see you on LinkedIn, everybody. Gil says probably, because I don't want to actually put the answer in here, but if I was to put the answer in here, it would be, he says, implementing a secure configuration of the web service. Ooh, this is some Cosmic Cowboy right here. And survey says, let's look at a few of these answers really quickly and talk about Cyber Cowboy Mando. That's right. This is the way. This is the way. Or how he does it. Let's look at why these answers are incorrect. Send the application logs to the SIM via syslog. This is asking us to protect the application. So protect, to me, protect means left of boom. When I see protect, I mean we're proactively doing something to prevent it from happening. Whenever you see logs, SIM, SOAR, that's typically going to be during or after, to the right of boom. Boom being the attack. Everything to the left of boom is that preventative stuff. Everything in the middle is where all the hackers do the fun stuff. And everything to the right of boom is our IR cleanup, lessons learned, and everything. So D does not stand out to me because this word protect tells me ahead of time, and this word and this option is after the fact, so we can cancel that one off. Run the server in a cloud-based environment, maybe, but cloud is also susceptible to attacks, so I don't think so. Build a backup server for the application. I don't know about building a backup server, but you want to have your data and the source code backed up. But before that happened, I would want to implement a secure configuration of the web service to avoid any of this happening in the first place, to give us any alarms or indicators if what we're doing is insecure. Let's see if I'm on the right path. You answered it, Gil, and if you thought the answer was implement a secure configuration on the web service, you would be absolutely correct. As Professor Messer explains it, implement a secure configuration of the web service. The tech support resources for many services will include a list of hardening recommendations. This hardening may include account restrictions, file permission settings, internal service configuration options, and other settings to ensure the service is as secure as possible. Sending logs to SIM is going to hell or going to tell? Just kidding. It's going to tell you what happened, not stop it. Exactly, team. Just like BSEC said, we're extracting these little words, and I don't want you to think it makes the test harder. In fact, understanding fully what the question asks of you is going to make the test so much easier, because just by knowing that this word means protect is ahead of time, you can scratch out the bottom answer. You can scratch out a couple of the others if you really think what the question's asking you in context. Moving on. Which of these threat actors would most likely to install a company's internal application on a public cloud provider? Which of these threat actors would be most likely to install a company's internal application on a public cloud provider? I wish I could do a reaction face. I don't know. Let's look through this one together, guys and gals and robots. Don't you know? Which of these threat actors would most likely to install a company internal application on a public cloud server? I don't know. Hacktivist tells me outside. Nation state is outside. Organized crime is outside. But Shadow IT, isn't that kind of like the C-suite setting up some kind of internal application on the public cloud provider? This question to me screams Shadow IT. Bear with me while I grab a drink of water, please. John Vitucci says, I feel with Sec Plus, if you think any more than one level deep, you're thinking too much. There are a handful of questions that may push you to the second level of thought, but I'm telling you folks, CompTIA wants you to have a basic understanding of the stuff they give you in the book, Professor Messer. They're not asking you to be champions of cybersecurity. You can pass Security Plus. Is by no means it's the ticket to a job. It is just the beginning. Don't waste time with Google Cert. Don't waste time with Udemy certs. Don't waste time in the mire of beginner town. Get your Security Plus so you can see what the cybersecurity landscape looks like. Find some mentorship, some people that are like-minded, and then start to find something in this industry that makes you tick and focus on it with sniper-like precision. You get your Sec Plus, you move on. Don't worry about Google. Don't worry about any of the others. None of those are DoD and nobody cares. Get Sec Plus. Build your community, then start getting your hands dirty. Home Labs, Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, Haiku, Anti-Siphon Cyber Ranges. Home Labs, volunteering, CTFs. Build your resume. Maybe start moderating somewhere. Come to me at Slay Security Plus and say, I want to get started in cybersecurity. I don't know how. Maybe I can create slides for you. Maybe we can talk about having me on as a guest or something. Wherever you are in your journey, you can do something to either A, give back, create yourself a living resume, or just contribute to be something, like I said, give back to something that's a lot bigger than you, man. That's my soapbox for the night, I think. Remember, the question says internal. Hacktivist could be internally working. Sorry for the camera bounce. Hacktivist could be internally working for you, but typically this is going to be Shadow IT. Shadow IT is an internal organization within the company, but is not part of the IT department. Shadow IT often circumvents or ignores existing IT policies to build their own infrastructure with company resources. Shadow IT can be on purpose and it can be accidental. So it can be malicious, or it could be benign and somebody's just dumb. Sorry, Carl. Got my A+ start of February and working on Net Plus, Sec Plus to get into IT. Hey, 573-918, DJ BSEC, Christopher Whitlock, anybody let's have a conversation on your Twitch channel right now. Let's go ahead and flesh this out a little bit. 573-918. Are you paying for your Net Plus and Sec Plus? Are you paying for your Net Plus out of pocket? Let us know in chat. Because Professor Messer has all the knowledge you need for Net Plus absolutely free. I can't remember the exact quote if somebody Googled it and put it in chat, but Goodwill Hunting and Jason Alano said a great point. Don't spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on something. In Goodwill Hunting, he says that you could get basically for the price of a library card and some overdue fines. Don't pay thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars for education that you could get by maybe paying $13.99 for YouTube Premium. We're in 2024. The information that you need is out there. And you don't need A+, Net+, or Sec+ necessarily to get into IT. No, I got them for free from a government-funded course. Holler. Okay, cool. Well then, right on. Net+ is hard. I studied for Net+ to get the information before taking Sec+, and it is. There's a lot of stuff going on. Some good fundamentals there. All right, back to the lesson at hand. Perfection is perfected, so I'll let him understand from a young G's perspective. And before, but I gotta find a, because you never know, she could be earning her man and learning her man, and at the same time burning her man. Now that's real up and real deal Holyfield. Tell him Snoop Dogg. D-O-double-G. A security administrator is concerned about the potential for data exfiltration. What does the word exfiltration mean? Let's use our vocabs. Exfil means to take out. So if data is in my hard drive and a bad guy exfiltrates it, they take it out. Data exfiltration is not good, right? And I'm not trying to talk down to anybody that's watching. I just want to hammer home the importance of just understanding some of these general industry terms because they can answer the questions without thinking too hard, right? Just like Tyler says, work smarter. Which of the following would be the best way to prevent this method of data exfiltration? Sorry, a security administrator is concerned about the potential for data exfiltration or data exfil using external storage drives. Which of the following would be the best way to prevent this method of data exfiltration? Create an operating system security policy to block the use of removable media. B, monitor removable media usage in host-based firewall logs. C, only allow applications that do not use removable media. And D, finally, define a removable media block in the UTM, or Unified Threat Management System. I'm not going to tell you because we just talked about it, and I know Slayers that you know this technique, but there's something in the question that immediately cancels out like two of the responses. There is a keyword that will tell you that can immediately eliminate two of those answer options. While we answer the question, do a little bit of radio roll call. I am Jesse J, aka the Cosmic Cowboy. We are leading an initiative together called Slay Security Plus. It is a community-based initiative that is all centered around helping you pass your Security Plus by bringing you what I consider the top industry study guides for absolute free, so that you can get all this good study goodness without paying a single penny. You can start today and get that Security Plus because, quite frankly, the multiple choice certifications are absolute dog poop. And get Security Plus. Why I'm passionate about it is because I want to see you get your Security Plus to get that conversation with HR so you can talk about all the wonderful things about you, what makes you tick, and why you're in cybersecurity. Slay Security Plus is proudly sponsored by simplycyber.io. Whether you're trying to level up your career, jump into a new career, or find community and mentorship, make sure you check out simplycyber.io. That link is in the description. Okay, I can get the cat out of the bag. The keyword is prevent. Prevent. Monitor removable media usage in host-based firewall logs. Logs are not preventative. Whenever you see logs, think of that as after the fact, okay? So it's not going to stop anything other than your weekend because you have to go through them now, okay? That's the only thing that's going to stop, and hopefully it'll train whoever's operating the SOC that day to change those rules and all the good stuff that we talk about. But prevent is going to cancel out the logs option right away. Define a removable media block in the UTM. We'll look through that one. Only allow applications that do not use removable media. Well, that doesn't make any sense because that cancels out a lot of our workflow and just productivity for the day. James Barcia, hey Chris, what's the best way to connect with somebody? DJ BSEC said it best, LinkedIn. You can find me, Ben Sherrill, aka DJ BSEC. You can find Christopher Whitlock, Dr. Jerry Ozier, all of us on LinkedIn. Okay, so we're 50%. Let's talk about why we're only 50% and not 90%. And we're going to see this question a couple times. And I want to stress that the Professor Messer exam bundle only has 3 practice tests. And some people go, well, that stinks. It doesn't have 15 verbose, intricately worded, way beyond scope, $200 practice exams. It's only 3 practice exams for $30. Well, they're the best, A. And B, you're not memorizing the question, you're memorizing the concept. Just like with hacking, pen testing, same thing with blue teaming. Same thing with all of cyber. It's about the methodology, not the tool. Methodology, not the tool, right? You're talking concept, not the question. Don't memorize the question, memorize the concepts. Better yet, don't memorize the concepts. Understand why the concepts work within the concepts, within the concepts, within the concepts. I don't care if you have to go back to the TCIP Illustrated Volume 1 and catch up to get here now. Do what you got to do. Put in the grind time. An attacker calls into a company's help desk and pretends to be the director of the company's manufacturing department. The attacker states that they have forgotten their password and they need to have the password reset quickly for an important meeting. What kind of attack would best describe this phone call? We've got A, social engineering, B, supply chain, D, watering hole, or C, on-path attack, formerly known as man in the middle. Joe Hudson, if you're watching, dude, when are we going to make some music? I've got this sweet interface here, right? What else did we pick up recently? Last 2 years ago, I was in a touring country rock band. We just finished doing a regional tour. And my singer at the time, he is getting married now, and he's leaving the music industry. And I picked up his sweet Helix. And so we're going to start getting some, because this will go straight to my computer, my DAW. We'll start getting some live music here on Slaysec Plus, but that's some fun stuff I've been playing with. I would love to hack into the firmware of this thing and make it so I have some different options. I'm thinking about doing that, but I don't want to risk breaking this. Supply chain, maybe? Well, it's not on path, right? Why isn't it on path? There's nothing in here that leads us believe that we have an on-path attack. An on-path attack is typically man in the middle. So whether that you're in somebody's web browser, you're on the network, you're intercepting traffic, typically an on-path attack is going to be coupled with a replay attack. I'm in the middle, I'm stealing your session cookies or your tokens, and then I come back later and I replay those. I was on the path, the same path that you are. I snagged your purse as you were walking by, and then you walked by, and since I was on that path with you, I'm now going to use your money or your card or whatever and get into your house or take your car or whatever, right? That's the concept of on path. This would probably be vishing if they gave us the option of vishing DJ BSEC, but unfortunately they didn't. They gave us social engineering, A, B, supply chain, C, watering hole, or D, on path. It's not watering hole because we're not talking any form of redirection, right? We're not looking at any kind of ARP poisoning, DNS poisoning. I don't see any redirect. So we can take off on path. We can take off watering hole. That leaves us with social engineering and supply chain. Pretends to be the director of the company's manufacturing department. The company of the manufacturing department director is not going to be in the supply chain. The supply chain is somebody maybe in that third party of the supply chain. The director is going to be directly working within. So that cancels all 3 of these out. Not that they couldn't have components of the correct answer, but again, CompTIA does say best, right? Turn my voice down. I feel like it's getting a little cracky online. This one is a straight up social engineering. Yep, you guys got it. Moving on. A remote user has received a text message with a link and login to confirm their upcoming work schedule. Which of the following would best describe this attack? Brute force, watering hole, typo, squatting, or smishing? Let me go back to that question somebody asked. I think it was gone. Working on a third monitor so that we can do a little more interactive with the live quizzing. And I'm not a huge fan of how Restream does some of the... Oh, Live Beat Labs, Auntie McPherson. I'm a guitar player. This is my pride and joy. It's a Strat that I built out of custom shop parts with Klein pickups to give that John Mayer, Stevie Ray Vaughan tone. And then the other one in the quiver today is a Telecaster that I bought used for $900, but it's ended up being made in the US with like this cool custom pickup in the middle. Love this Tele. And then the final one in the quiver tonight is this Gibson Les Paul with a red cherry burst finish, not custom, US standard from 2023 with a fat 50s neck on it. And then there's like 5 more in there, but they're just tools, man. They're just like Nmap is a tool for cybersecurity professionals. My guitars are a tool for playing and creating music. This one should jump out at you, class. And I can see why you would think, why Watering Hole link the text message with the link to confirm their upcoming work schedule. To say text message, that the link part maybe leads you to believe Watering Hole. And that's why maybe CompTIA has best. Okay. Now let's talk about that word best. CompTIA has partially weighted questions within their certification exam. Meaning, if you get close to, let's say you selected Watering Hole on exam day instead of smishing. The correct answer is smishing, short message service, phishing is what's going on. The correct answer is phishing. But let's say you selected Watering Hole. If I was a good professor, I would say, okay, tell me why. I'm always interested in the why. If the answer is wrong, I learned this in music and in law enforcement. If you did the wrong thing, let's talk about what your methodology is. Why did you choose Watering Hole? And if you tell me, well, it said text message and I thought smishing, but then I saw a link and everybody worked at the same place and everybody would have gone to that link, that could be a redirection attack. And I would agree with you, and I think CompTIA would too, meaning that you'd probably get partial credit. I don't know what each question is worth, but let's say this one is worth 2. Let's say smishing is worth 2 points and Watering Hole is worth 1 point. If you answer smishing, you get the full 2 points. If you answer Watering Hole, you get partial credit, so on and so forth. CompTIA will not take away points for answering incorrectly. You can only get more points by answering them correctly. Why it's so important you answer every single question. Matthew Pelkey, I used to play trumpet in a band. I love me some horns in music. Gravity, yep. You have 7 sets of drums. A drummer, let's go, dude. Let's meet up in Deadwood or in Denver for the Simply Cyber live meetups and jam out. I know Joe Hudson from TCM, if you're watching, we got a jam. That's what got me on that tangent. All right, moving on. A company is in the process of configuring and enable host-based firewalls on all user devices. Which of the following threats is the company addressing? A, default credentials, B, vishing, C, instant messaging, or D, on-path attacks. A company is in the process of configuring and enabling host-based firewalls on all user devices. Which of the following threats is the company addressing? John Vitucci grabbing a bite to eat and be right back. Tonight is our traditional post-Slay Security Plus family Mario Party time. And while you're thinking about this answer, I'm going to give a quick shout out to the most important people in my life, my immediate family that's here in the house, my wife and my 2 kiddos, who have supported my cybersecurity journey from really the beginning up until now, from live streams, from my wife picking up extra shifts, missing out on a lot of our littlest ones coming up so that we could be here, so that I could create network and come up with all these wacky ideas. And so thank you. I know you're not watching, but I love you. And if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here and probably wouldn't have this awesome interview for a pen testing company. So hats off to my family. Chris Whitlock. I'm so excited for Wild West Hackin' Fest. Bro, I am telling you, if I had everything dialed up, I'd pull up some pictures, but life-changing, absolutely a life-changing experience. Not just because you get to hang out with like Jerry and the people in the industry that really inspire and influence us. Been in a touring band. I don't get sticker shock. I think people are people. Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, give or take. And so I just like meeting the people that have been there before us and the up and comers. It's a close knit con. Man, you're gonna love Wild West Hacking Fest. John Strand, Anti-Siphon crew, get to jam out. Hoping to throw a sleigh jam down with Joe Hudson and John Strand. Epic. "75% of you say on-path or man-in-the-middle attacks. Instant messaging, vishing, or default credentials." This is a good question. Host-based firewalls. What do firewalls do? What does a host-based firewall do on all users? What does a firewall do? Traffic. Right? Traffic. Controls traffic, the flow of traffic. From just deducing IT and cybersecurity knowledge, I don't think we're talking default credentials or vishing. We could be talking vishing because we're trying to prevent the traffic from these user devices. So vishing is great. Maybe we're trying to prevent on-path attacks, so that traffic flow, a threat actor being on the network. Let's see what the survey says. My vote, wow, that peaked. Sorry about that, folks. My vote is, I don't want to think too deep. Firewalls and all use vishing. Vishing has to do with traffic. You're getting, let's see. Instant messaging. Reaction face. Insert reaction face. Instant messaging is commonly used as an attack vector, meaning direction. And one way to help protect against malicious links delivered by instant messaging is host-based firewall. Okay. Default credentials users commonly use with unique credentials that are specific to the user. A host-based firewall would not identify the use of default username and password. Fair. Vishing or voice phishing occurs over the telephone. Aha, duh, Jesse. See, you went ahead. You sped ahead and thought. On-path attack describes a third party. Victims of an on-path attack are not usually aware the attack is not taking place. So host-based firewall would not be able to detect an on-path attack. Man, okay. Gonna flag that one. I'm gonna read this question, and reminding me of flagging questions, I'm gonna jaw jack a little bit on that while we answer this one. A manufacturing company produces radar used in commercial and military organizations. A recently proposed policy change would allow the use of mobile devices inside the facility. Which of the following would be the most significant threat vector direction of attack? The direction you use. Issue associated with this change in policy. A, unauthorized software on rooted devices. What does rooted devices mean? When you look at the answers, remember what I talk about. We start subtracting the concepts within the concepts. Remote access clients on the mobile devices. C, out-of-date mobile operating systems. Or D, loss of intellectual property. BSEC says, hey, Slay Security Plus vishing would work if the device has VoIP on it. So, hey, that's fair. And which device in 2024 doesn't run on VoIP? On-path makes most sense. Thank you. So I wasn't completely lost on that one. What was I going to talk about? Something super important with the questions. Had to do with the last question and I forgot. We'll get to it. I know the answer for this one because I got it wrong when I was studying for Security Plus. Some of these questions in the Messer pack are updated from his 601, which works for me because they're worded great. And if you're new to the channel, you probably haven't seen them. And if you're new and you're getting value from this, I would appreciate it if you did like and subscribe. Keep the algorithm so that more people come, learn Slay Security Plus. I'm not here for viewers. I'm not here for subs. I'm confident in my ability to get a job that's going to pay the bills. Everything Slay Security Plus does is for the community. So if you like, subscribe. If not, you might find somebody who else's is and share it with them. That's all we ask. This is a tough one because a lot of these answers could be correct. This is one of the Security Plus questions, and I got a couple of these when I took the exam that kind of make you think a little bit differently. Slay Security Plus, B-Sec says we're going to have to hook up on some Mario Kart. Yes, we are. But still subscribe. Christopher Whitlock, you remind me, I don't know how long have you been like in the industry? Are you an old timer IT guy? Are you new? Tell us a little bit about your story. I know you a little bit from Simply Cyber and the conversations we've had privately on Discord. This is a tough one. The answer I'm just going to tell you right now is D, loss of intellectual property. CompTIA's argument and reasoning for this answer, I don't want to read it word for word because that drives me crazy when people do that. Basically, they're saying that loss of intellectual, by having a cell phone with proprietary stuff going on, that they're not worried about any of these, but they'd be worried about how easy it is to take pictures or send voice recordings or whatever of intellectual property. I know it's not the best of all of the Messer/Security Plus questions, but it is very similar to something that you will see on exam day. Moving on, 12 of 55. You all are doing great, by the way. I want you to know. An attacker has identified a number of devices on a corporate network with the username of admin and the password of admin. Which of the following describes the situation? A, open service ports. B, default credentials. C, unsupported systems. Or D, phishing. An attacker has discovered devices on a corporate network. I ran nmap, tac p tac, tac capital A, IP address, tac little o, capital A, output all to nmap.txt. And in that I see, or whatever I'm running, maybe I'm running some other types of things, right? And something comes back in my enumeration that we see that the admin used. We see something called default credentials. Okay, let's reverse it. That was a bad example. I'm inside an Active Directory network, right? And I'm working through some of the tooling. I'm thinking, because I'm in pen test mode, so I'm thinking right now, I'm studying with you guys, so bear with me for a second. I'm just letting my mind go down the path. So I've exploited, got my foothold. I got one box, but the box isn't connected to the domain controller. I need to pivot. So I'm going to use S-shuttle to pivot because I'm not confident with proxy chains. I'm going to use S-shuttle to pivot, run a scan, and see if there's any open shares. I'm going to basically see what the credentials status is looking like through some PowerShell commands. Get, I have to think for a second. Look at my cheat sheet. But I'll be able to look at who the domain, I know what I'll do. I know who the domain admin is, and I can elevate my privileges. Okay. At any rate, you don't want default credentials. That is an easy way to pwn boxes and to compromise an Active Directory network. One of the most common things, I was watching a podcast from FR Secure, and they were mentioning, like, we still see unsupported like default credentials is still popping up like crazy in Active Directory networks. Yeah, there it is. Get net domain. I knew it was something close. Thank you for that. Nice. Stephen Gibney was doing PowerShell on TryHackMe yesterday. I cannot I keep saying underestimate. I can't understate the importance of learning your scripting techniques, whether that's PowerShell. I'd start with Bash, like John Strand says. Bash is really easy. There's lots of cheat sheets available. I'll post one tomorrow from my LinkedIn account, but there's some really good Bash cheat sheets. Learn a good text editor. I like Vim. I saw Alex from TCM use Vim, and I'm like, this is cool, and I like the control, so I use Vim. But understand your scripting languages. Get a working knowledge of them. I cannot have that knowledge. Don't rely on GUIs. 100% of you, no need to waste time on that question. Great job. A security administrator attends an annual industry convention with other security professionals from around the world. Which of the following attacks would most likely in this situation? Smishing, A. B. Supply chain. C. SQL injection. Or D. Watering hole. Most likely, well, I mean, there could be some text message attacks coming from some bad people, some threat actors, some baddies at the convention. There could be some supply chain attacks going on at the convention. It doesn't sound like it's fulfilling this question, though. SQL injection. There is nothing in the question that's talking about input validation or secure coding or segregating web servers and data servers. It has nothing to do with web browsers. I don't see any of that going on, so SQL injection does not stand out to me. But I do see a lot of security professionals all gathered in one place, probably going to some of the same sites. I'm going to say no to supply chain, no to SQL injection, but could be smishing and could be watering hole. Most likely, I think watering hole. Let's see. I like being wrong. Correct answer is watering hole. And when I was talking, and I'm sure with SQL injections, there's other ways to perform SQL injection outside of attacking web apps. In my early red teaming experience, I know SQL injection is testing web apps, so I'll have to go look into. I still think that, yeah, but anyway, that's what makes sense to me. Watering hole is correct. Good job. When connected to the wireless network, users at remote sites receive an IP address, which is not part of the corporate address scheme. Communication over this network is also slower than the wireless connections everywhere else in the building. Which of the following would be most likely reason for these issues? A, rogue access joint. Rogue access point, rogue access joint. B, domain hijack. C, DDoS, or D, encryption's enabled. Pluralsight has some great PowerShell for cybersecurity, although Pluralsight isn't free. I'm okay with paid services as long as the value's there. I know, you're not going to SQL inject people at a conference. Exactly. Calling my next joint my rogue access joint. Good for you, 573918. Whatever works. I don't think its encryption is enabled. Probably wouldn't be getting any communication. There'd be some other issues going on. It just doesn't sound like the answer does satisfies other questions, but not the one that's being asked. DDoS would be a distributed denial of service. This says that communication over the network is slower. DDoS is typically shutting down that service. Domain hijacking. Domain hijacking has to do with changing, right? You hijack DNS records. And so we're not quite there yet, but rogue access point to me satisfies this answer. I hear access point, I hear wireless network, IP address is not part of the address scheme. Keep reading, network is slower. That's what makes sense to me. What do you say, survey? Hey Raj, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the party, pal. Rogue access point is the correct answer. And the reason it's not a domain hijacking would be associated with unauthorized access to the domain name. And so remember, when we talk about DNS, that's the domain name service that takes what we like to type, friendly human readable words, and takes those words and translates them to their correct IP addresses. And so you would need to mess with DNS to do this attack, and that's not what the question is asking us. That's why that answer does not satisfy. I hope that explanation helps. A company's network team has been asked to build an IPsec tunnel to a new business partner. Which of the following security concerns would be the most important to consider? A, supply chain attack. B, unsupported systems. C, business email compromise. Or D, typo swatting. What is IPsec, everybody? Let's think about it. What is IPsec? So security plus DDoS doesn't always shut it down completely. There are times it just makes it all slow. Fair. Very fair. You're not wrong, BSEC. Definitely something to consider. IPsec tunnel. Thinking VPN? Right? Are we thinking VPN encryption? That's what I'm thinking. Unsupported systems. That one is standing out to me. To a new business partner. Business email compromise. What is the most important? Most important. Unsupported systems. Business email compromise. Business partner. VPN. IPsec tunnel. Slayers, I'm learning with you on this one. Livebeat Labs, would you pretty please not put the answers in chat? If you could use the app, it keeps people from lemming effect from people just guessing because of the answer in chat, and it helps prevent imposter syndrome. Because we here at Slay Security Plus, we slay imposter syndrome, we kick it to the curb. You got no place here, imposter syndrome. That's why we're here. Get learned up. Supply chain attack. I need to look at this one. I need to study this answer. A direct connection to a third party creates potential access for an attacker. Most organizations will include a firewall to help monitor and protect against supply chain attacks. Okay, noted. Okay, they're being asked to create one. They are not saying it has been created yet at Slay Security. Thank you, DJ BSEC. DJ BSEC hosted jaw jacking today on the daily threat brief for Dr. Jerry Ozier. If you haven't been there before, check that out. Full of daily information. DJ BSEC has over 20, 25, 30 years, something like that, of IT security experience, sysadmin experience, and working with people. So what you see pop up in the chat is DJ BSEC, and he's got a wealth of knowledge, and we appreciate it. I'll tell you that. I love learning from people that are here in chat that work in the industry. It's great. Plugging and chugging, folks. You all are doing great. A common issue is weak or outdated security configurations. Older encryption standards such as DES and WEP should be updated to newer and stronger encryption technologies. What? Did I mess up a question in my, hold on, team. I'm sorry about that. Oh, those were options. Okay. There's probably, I missed a part of the question, and I apologize here. Attention to detail. So note to self, lesson learned. As long as you learn from your mistakes, that's all that matters. It's probably asking, older encryption standards such as DES and WEP should be updated to use newer and stronger encryption technologies. Why would updating these encryption technologies, be, which is the most important reason? Which is the most important reason to prescribe these updates is probably what it's asking. And we saw the answer would be weak encryption. Hey, Space Tacos, thank you. It's good to see you on chat. I hope you have a wonderful evening. We forgive you this time. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The embedded OS or operating system in a company's time clock appliance is configured to reset the file system and reboot when the file system error occurs. As you can see, we're moving into a different domain. You can feel it in the questions. To reset the file system and reboot when the file system error occurs. On one of the time clocks, the file system occurs during the startup process and causes the system to constantly reboot. Which of the following best describes this issue? A, memory injection, B, resource consumption, C, race conditions, or D, malicious update? Taking care of our crowd here on LinkedIn. See if anybody's asked any questions. Nope. Jimmy Martinez says he's interested in viewing the virtual lab. Appreciate you for doing this. Jimmy Martinez, are you still watching? If so, please let me know here on LinkedIn because I will get the lab started. Got 15 minutes left. It'd be a nice little break from the questions. Let me know on LinkedIn if you want us to do that lab, and we'll fire up getting VM started. I do use VMware Pro, so it's going to look a little different than VMware Workstation, the free version. Concepts are still the same. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn, let me know. James Barcia, are you here in chat? Let me look. I could have swore I saw your name. Hey, Cyber Vega, welcome. We do this. I host Thursday nights, and then our partner in crime, Taylor Cybergler, host on Monday nights. Same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. So Mondays and Thursdays, very similar study styles, different people. Taylor comes with a different wealth of knowledge. He just passed the CISSP. He's got a little more industry experience than yours truly, and so it's awesome to have him on board. But we're also learning together. I focus primarily, my passion is red team, consulting, Active Directory hacking, external pen tests, web app pen tests. I am a blue-shirted, cold-blooded red teamer. And this will be on the main channel moving forward. Yep. So starting on Mondays, Cyber Hamburglar is going to stream from the normal Slay Security Plus channel. You can find him right here. Make it really simple, all in one place. And I'm going to, honestly, I'm going to assume that he's still watching. And if not, maybe you can catch us on Team Replay. Let's go ahead and start getting this lab fired up in case he's watching. And we said we'd do it. So let's answer this question. Get VMware fired up. Got a few minutes. Let's get this lab going. Let's do it. Memory injection or race condition. Whenever you see clocks or something happening with timing, your answer is always going to be race conditions. Race conditions really has to do with applications or processes are not checking with the other process before doing something, to put it into like just basic like grand scheme of things. Okay, and so we see the system clock reboots, and then when one of the time clocks, the file system error occurs. So that tells me a race condition. Race condition occurs when two processes occur at similar times, usually with unexpected results. The file system problem can be fixed before a reboot, but the reboot is occurring before the fix can be applied. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. What did you think of that power study session, that power hour? Did you get some value from those questions? Let me know in chat. Those are Professor Messer's write-ups. Those are his questions and his explanations. And so you can find those at professormesser.com. They're $30 for the tests, $30 for the notes, and it's going to be the best $30 that you can buy. I'm not affiliated. I don't get paid to say that. I just stand by his courses. Bring over VMware. Where did I put those ISOs? My hard drive, that's right. Okay. Okay, here we go. Do we want my face, yay or nay? We'll have it in there for just a second. Oops. There we go. Okay, here we are. I've gone out to the internet. I have now downloaded VMware or VirtualBox. VirtualBox is free. Okay. I've already gone, and so I'm not, unfortunately, this is the Win ADHD lab from Black Hills that I'm working through. And here's my Kali box that I set up. We'll do another video, or maybe I won't, or there's some phenomenal YouTube on downloading, updating, and getting Kali up and fired. I'm not going to use any of my resources. You can see I'm running 16 gigs on the Kali box with 4 processors. Thanks to the sponsorship, we get an awesome streaming station that allows us to have some of these capabilities. But I'm going to get a new one fired up. So from your menu, and this would be the same, very similar layout on VirtualBox or just VM Workstation, and I'm going to create a virtual machine. When you see open virtual machine and create a virtual machine, a open virtual machine is a virtual machine that's already been configured and set up. It's just a virtual machine file. Requires a little bit more overhead on your system, but that's an option for just spinning up a VM. It's already up and running, ready to go. We're going to create a new virtual machine from scratch. We're using Welcome to the new virtual machine wizard. Go ahead and click on Typical. It's going to come to this menu where it's asking you about installer disks, installer disk image files or ISOs, or I will install the operating system later. I just got really Boston on accident. We're going to install the disk image files. And let's see what pops up first. Is it on the desktop? I believe it is. Let's go ahead and do the Microsoft Server eval. This is completely free. And if you're going, well, how do I get those, Johnson? How do I get those, Cyber Outlaw? How do I get those, Cosmic Cowboy? You Google Microsoft Evaluation Center and download the appropriate ISOs for your architecture. If you don't know what your architecture is, do what I did, figure it out. Write it down, put it in note. You can look it up, and that's great, but there is nothing like getting in your own system and figuring out how it works. I'm telling you. So we're going to open up this server. I'm going to go ahead and get the server fired up first. Windows Server 2022 is detected. This operating system will use easy install. Let's rock. The overall results, Chris Whitlock, for today's quiz are not going to be available because there's 60 questions and we've only done so many. I can go back through and post how everybody did. But we've got 60 questions, and this is an ongoing review, a live review. If you're performance or KPI based, I'll get those information to see how everybody did. Chris Whitlock, if you're interested, I'd be happy to get that information for you. I'm going to do Windows Server 2022, I believe. Full name, Slays, next. Okay, we're not going to go with the key because it's an evaluation. Now, if you keep this longer than 90 days, it's going to have some watermarks, I think, that say this is not a legit version of Windows. It says 60 gigs for the hard drive. Remember, it's going to use yours, but in the virtual one, just keep it at 60. You can go back and it won't actually allocate 60. This is just if you're going to save 60. And all we're using the server for is to set up a domain controller when it's that time. Customize hardware. Let's look. I like 2 gigs, 2 processors. Let's go ahead and take our Windows Server up to 4 gigs. Looks good. Give it a second. Oh, I missed the thing. Dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it. You've got to be quick on the draw and hit a key right when that pops up, or else we're going to have to reload it. Probably have to reload it. That's okay. Dang it. And here we go. We're literally opening up. It's just like we are opening up a Windows box at home. I mean, that's what we're doing. It's just in a hypervisor. A virtual machine. Yep, I know. I know. You know how many times I had to do this when I was setting up the Active Directory lab? Oh my gosh, for TCM. Did I get it? I think I got it, because my mouse is trapped. And you'll get these warnings until you kind of get in sync with this startup process. There's another workaround. If we can't get it fired up, that we can go through it. Yeah. Oh, it's going to do is take us back to the setup screen. There's a tweak to get around this that Heath talks about in the lab. And we can actually, if it doesn't do it, okay, that's fine. Make sure that you can't find the Microsoft Service License terms. That's fine. Let's shut it down. Power off. Okay. Make sure our settings are good. Nat. So we're going, what's the issue? How are we going to work through this? Well, figure it out. Oh, not Callie. Nope. And then when you're in your workstation, you hit Control-Alt, frees up your mouse. See if this computer can handle firing up. Oops. Nope. Go home. There's our Windows server. Let's try powering it on again. Okay. Watch Heath Adams, TCM, setting up a VM or a Active Directory lab. He walks through how to get through this hump. I had to do it a million times. It's pretty straightforward. It could be because I'm streaming. It might be something in the initial setup that we got wrong. Let's start from scratch. Okay, I'm going to close this one off completely. Start from scratch. Build live. Start from scratch. Let's do it again. Let's create a new virtual machine because I messed up. Dang it, I broke it. I didn't get it. I'm not supposed to be in cybersecurity. I'm a terrible hacker. I'll never be elite, ever. Let's try installing the operating system later. We're doing Microsoft Windows Server 22. We're going to call it that, number 2. Same thing is all the same. Customize 2048 or 2 gigs. Let's bump this up to 4. We're going to actually do this kind of a little workaround to get past that. All right. Boom. There we go, baby. Keep working until you figure it out. That's how we do it. I couldn't think of the way to get around it. Well, we figured it out as a team. Try out Go. So set up your VMware, get the operating system loaded in, so server, whatever it is, and actually don't click that immediate ISO file. Click, you'll load it in later, and literally all you do is go back in what I just did. You can watch that on Team Replay. Then go back through and make sure you click in your button right when it goes. Now it should work. We should have bypassed that little, not registry key, but you guys know what I'm saying. Registration key, yeah. Standard evaluation. This option gets full Windows graphical environment. I'm going to go with recommended. Custom upgrade install. We're just going to install the upgrade. Oh yeah, close. Sorry, we're going to do a custom install. My bad. We're not upgrading from 2019. We're just going bigger, go home. We're going intergalactic. We're going to install the operating system here on this hard drive. Matthew Pelkey, feel free to, if this goes through and we get to our Windows login screen, which we should, Planetary, very good, Justin Gold. Matthew Pelkey, you can walk back through the steps and do what we did. Just remember that little workaround hack that we did to get the to get Windows Server to not require that key on startup. You ready? You ready, team? I'm glad where the VM's off and cool. Woohoo. And then it should open us up into Windows and we can start the Windows process, which is always super, super fun, and go through your options on how you like to configure Windows Server and or Windows 10 workstation. So there you go. After that, it's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of videos. There's a great one that Heath does where we go in and we look at the system and we rename it to keep it simple for our Active Directory hacking lab. And it's Windows, so, you know. The user's password must be changed before signing in. Okay. New password. ADMIN. I want to be really secure. Does it not? Oh. Doesn't like that one. Or hit escape to cancel. Press Control-Alt-Delete to unlock. You're going to reach up here and send your VM a Control-Alt-Delete. Wonder why it's not taking. Whoops. Whoop. Okay, it's going to make us, let's see if it'll take that input. This is new. It didn't do this in 2019. Password. Enter new credentials for admin. New password. Gives us more things to work through. I'm going 2 minutes over stream, ladies and gentlemen. Security Plus Slayers. I want to thank you for your time tonight. I hope you found some value, whether it was building community, studying for your Security Plus, getting to see kind of what cybersecurity looks like and how you can be a part of this amazing industry. I'm going to get to the kiddos. 16 gigs might be used for all the tools of Kali. You guys are awesome, guys, gals. I am Jesse J, the Cosmic Cowboy. You are Slay Security Plus. You make up this community. Until next time, I'll see you tomorrow on Dr. Jerry's Daily Cyber Threat Brief. I'll catch you